Rey Mysterio might have just made a big mistake that puts LWO's future in jeopardy. We'll also check out what's going on with Dominik's big plan, the Judgment Day, and more. Starting things off with Rey Mysterio because lots of fans are wondering if Rey's latest decision is about to spark a whole other civil war amongst the LWO. So after Dominik Mysterio got back involved with Rey Mysterio's business after costing him a match against Santos Escobar on Smackdown several weeks ago, Rey's response was simple, and it was to challenge Dominik and Santos to a tag team match at WrestleMania 40. Rey said it'll be Dominik and Santos against Rey and a partner of his choosing from the LWO. So the second Rey said a partner of his choosing, the crowd instantly started chanting for Carlito, which is extremely understandable since Carlito was a longtime veteran in WWE, a fan favorite, and clearly the number 2 option within the rankings of the LWO. But to everyone's surprise, Rey Mysterio not only announces that Dragon Lee has joined the LWO, but within the same breath, Rey reveals that he's picking Dragon Lee to be his WrestleMania 40 partner for the tag team match. Now, it's unclear if the rest of the LWO members were aware of Dragon Lee's addition to the group before Rey's announcement within the storyline, but they all seemed a little surprised themselves when Rey announced it. So this has fans wondering if Rey Mysterio has once again accidentally walked himself into some more potential hot water with LWO members. Remember that Santos Escobar really lost his cool with Rey Mysterio after he claimed that Rey brought in Carlito into the group without really talking it over with the rest of the group, and Santos didn't really like how Carlito just instantly started taking opportunities from the rest of LWO after just walking back in. That didn't really sit well with Santos, and that unannounced addition to the group by Rey Mysterio caused Santos to leave and turn on Rey. So it's almost pretty funny and comical because did Rey Mysterio basically just make the same mistake again? Did the character not really learn anything from what just happened with Santos Escobar? Did he really just bring in another new member to the group without talking it over with the rest of the group beforehand? That's the very big question to ask here. Despite it not being exactly fully clear if Rey let the group know all the details or not before his actual in-ring announcement, since Rey Mysterio is a legendary babyface character, we're to assume that he did everything the right way and talked things over with other LWO members before getting to the ring. But even if he did, fans still think that this decision could come back to bite Rey in the end and still upset the other LWO members. You have the original LWO members there, you have Carlito there, who hasn't competed at WrestleMania in a long time, and Rey just skips right over them to be his partner. Is that something that's going to bother Toro, Wilde, and Carlito? Will that help open up their eyes to what Santos Escobar has been talking about? Will it make them consider switching sides and joining Santos? Toro and Wilde are originally Escobar's guys, but considering that Escobar now has Angel and Berto, it definitely would be too much if he also got Toro and Wilde back. So maybe no one will be switching sides per se, but you do gotta wonder if this decision by Rey to go with Dragon Lee for WrestleMania will make things messy for the LWO. There's a lot of big things going on within the Judgment Day, from Rhea's title defense, the tag team title defense, and Damian's potential cash-in, but there appears to be another quietly developing storyline in the background of the Judgment Day involving Dominik Mysterio. Dominik Mysterio has been a Judgment Day member for a few years now, but ever since he joined the group, he hasn't really been taken that seriously by anyone. Even back when everyone was discussing about who was the true leader of the Judgment Day, Triple H had a viral joke poking fun at Dominik, saying that people probably argue that Finn, Rhea, or Damian are the leaders, but that no one is arguing that Dominik is the leader. And it's true, before JD McDonough joined the group, Dominik was probably looked at as the last option within the group's rankings. Now Dominik is probably considered to be the second to last option, ahead of JD in current day. But in terms of being a leader, being a threat, and taken seriously, That was never really there for Dominik up until this point. But the last few weeks appear to be building towards something big that Dominik seems to be the main mastermind behind. Within the last few weeks alone, Dominik has established a very well relationship with Andrade. Dominik has kept things on very friendly terms with Andrade, introduced him to the Judgment Day, appears to be helping him get into the door with the Judgment Day every way that he can. Dominik laid out that offer that if Andrade takes care of Ricochet, the Judgment Day will bring him into the group. But all the other Judgment Day members don't really agree with those terms. Another interesting thing about the segment is that Andrade shook hands with Santos Escobar and verbally said out loud that he remembers Angel and Berto, which was a very nice little detail that adds a lot to the storyline direction, because that's true. Andrade did feud with Berto in 2019 and was even teaming with Angel during the Thunderdome days. So Andrade's relationship and history with Santos Escobar's faction is already well established. Andrade clearly isn't a fit for the Judgment Day, and just looks like it wouldn't work out at all. But Andrade does seem like it'll be a better perfect fit for joining Santos Escobar. So considering all the tension amongst the groups, and especially amongst the Judgment Day, it just doesn't seem like things are going to go according to Dominik's original plans. But on top of the new relationship with Andrade, Dominik has now formed a new working relationship with Santos Escobar behind the Judgment Day's back. So everyone never gave Dominik Mysterio credit in times past, but it definitely seems like the character is making some big moves right now and potentially even manipulating his fellow Judgment Day members. But what's the main end goal and payoff for this strange connection between Andrade, Dominik, and Santos Escobar? Well, some fans think that this is going to lead towards Dominik Mysterio fully leaving the Judgment Day to join Santos Escobar and his faction, while Andrade will also join Santos Escobar's faction, creating a new faction with the main big three of Santos Escobar, Dominik Mysterio, and Andrade. The idea of this new faction coming together was teased several times on the April 1st edition of Raw, with the camera even focusing on Andrade, Santos, and Dominik being in a single frame together. So it looks like we're really in the final days for Dominik Mysterio as a Judgment Day member, and maybe Dominik isn't manipulating anyone and doesn't have any mean intentions. Maybe he's genuinely trying to help out the Judgment Day expand and gain new members. But through Damian Priest yelling at him and the rest of the group treating him like trash and dismissing all of his ideas, maybe he realizes that Santos and Andrade treat him better with more respect. And that's what makes him break into the new faction with them. That appears to be the direction that this story's headed in, but we'll see if there's any more twists and turns along the way. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.